If you've ever looked at my profile picture, you've probably made the guess that I like Donkey Kong, and you would be right. So I bought all Lego Donkey Kong sets, and in total, there are 9 figurines for you to build. So today, we are going to rank all 9 of them by accuracy, detail, and functionality. With that out of the way, let's get started. And number 9 is going to have to be Squawks. Now before I get started, I just want to say, I don't think any of these figurines are bad by any of the case. I think Lego and Nintendo did a really good job at making these, but unfortunately one of them just has to be last. Now Squawks, he's in the Lego Dixie set. It's Dixie and Squawks in that set, on the stage and whatnot. And one thing about Squawks is because of the small size of this figurine, there's not a whole lot of really detail you can do with this. I mean, the nose is kind of really just one big piece. His ears are really just one piece. His head is essentially just 3 pieces. You have the eyes, which are up here, and you have the 2 back pieces of his head. One thing I guess you could say about this is his tail. This tail has a little bit of functionality, and the wings itself, and you have a little bit of detail of the red pieces here, but again, the actual green part of his wings are kind of just one big piece here. And the feet, this is kind of the case for a lot of these figurines. It's really just one piece, and that's kind of it. Squawks, pretty good figurine, but again, one of them has to be last. So Squawks will be coming in at number 9. And number 8 has to be Mole Miner. He comes in with the Lego Funky set, and he's actually the first thing you build in that set. So kind of a little bit of a build up with that one. And in terms of functionality, one thing that Mole Miner has that Squawks doesn't is his arms. He has movable arms. One of them, you actually get to use a pickaxe. One of them was just kind of cool, and his arm kind of just fell off, which that's another thing about just Legos in general. They're very fragile, so those things kind of happen. But another cool detail is this headlamp here. It doesn't really move, so not really a lot of functionality there, but it's a cool little detail nevertheless. The tooth here, along with tooth here. And another thing that's pretty common is the feet. The feet is one big piece, however, this time they're a little bit more spread out. In terms of accuracy, I think it's alright, it's just, I feel like in the game, they're more represented as a bigger mole instead of this little guy. And another cool thing too is the sensor. I don't actually have the actual Lego Mario figurine itself, so I don't exactly know what the sensor does, but it's pretty cool detail to have. One thing that Squawks doesn't have, no reason to put him higher. But yeah, somewhat detailed. You can tell a little bit few lines here and there that there's some smaller pieces into the bigger one. But yeah, Mole Miner, he's gonna come in at number 8. And number 7 is gonna be Dixie, and as her name suggests, she's in the Lego Dixie Jungle Jam set. Now one thing about Dixie, kind of like over the Mole Miner, are her arms. Now if you noticed when we talked about Mole Miner, his arms, you kind of just snap them on. I'll show you guys real quickly. You see how his arms here, you kind of just snap it onto this brown piece. But with Dixie, she has a little hole right around her arms, and you kind of just slide in, so her arms don't really fall off as much. And you can actually circle these arms around as much. A little bit more too. One thing I don't understand though is this brown piece kind of sticking out of her. I'm not sure if it's to really hold up the mouth or something. I'm not really sure what the point of that is. But one cool thing about Dixie's figurine is the hair. This hair, very detailed. It can go up and down like that, which is pretty cool. Her head just came off, which is just fantastic. The bonnet, pretty cool detail to have. Very simple, but it's a big part of Dixie's appearance, and I messed this up now, so we're gonna fix that real quickly. Yeah, I just put it down to fix it. But overall, again, one last thing too, the one piece feet, that's gonna be a common occurrence the next few characters we're gonna go over. But Dixie, pretty cool character, and she's gonna be at number 7. And number 6 is going to be Diddy. Now, Diddy and Dixie, very similar when it comes to the way you construct them. Diddy comes in the Lego Diddy minecart ride, as his name kind of suggests. You know, he has this weird brown piece kind of sticking out of his mouth still. And you got, again, the 1 feet kind of thing. We're gonna see that for one more character on this list. But one thing I do kind of like more about this Diddy one is two things really. First is this tail. You know, when you saw Dixie's hair, you know, you can kind of move it up and down, but Diddy, it's like his tail, you can move 360, so there's a little bit more functionality in there. Detail wise, again, very similar. You know, Dixie had that little pink piece in the front of her. Diddy has his little star emblem logo right here, which is pretty cool. Another thing is this hat. Now, this hat you can actually take off. There it is right here. You can take that hat piece off. But the thing about Dixie is that, you know, she has her bonnet, but you actually can't take that off. Let me just fix Diddy here real quickly. There you go. And you can take this hat off here. So, very similar to Dixie, but I just think he has a little more functionality. And that's why he's maybe number 6 on this list. And number 5 on this list is going to be Cranky. Now, one thing about Cranky I will say is that he doesn't really have the functionality aspect that Diddy and Dixie did. You know, really he can only move his arms, and you know, Diddy and Dixie, they had few extra features that increased the functionality rating. But one thing I will say about Cranky is the detail, and especially his beard. I mean, there is just a lot of little pieces on the beard that, you know, I think when building this definitely took the longest. And you know, he is in the Lego Donkey set with Donkey himself, so you know, he's not the main character in that set, so obviously I don't think he's going to be as detailed as Donkey. But you know, you have the little vest here, which is pretty good detail. You have his little cane, which I mean, admittedly, it's hard to really fit in his hands. There's been times where, you know, his arm kind of just snapped out. And that's one thing I was talking about with Diddy and Dixie. You know, he kind of just, you know, put the arm in the little hole, but trying to put this cane on, man, it snaps it out a little bit sometimes. But overall, you know, Cranky, just mainly because of the detail in comparison to Diddy and Dixie, he's gonna be at number 5 on this list. And number 4 is gonna be Rambi from the Lego Rambi set. Now, with him being the only character from that set, they put a lot of effort into this guy. I mean, very detailed. You can really tell. Look at a bunch of these lines. You know, there's a lot of intricate little deep pieces here with Mr. Rambi right here. You know, you have the little horn, you have the little antlers. You know, his head functionality. You can move him up. You can move up and down just like so. And another cool thing too. And again, I don't have Lego Mario himself, but you do have the little sensor on him. So I'm assuming Lego Mario can like ride him and get something like that. But overall, man, I mean, this guy, pretty detailed, and you know, he used him to break down his bricks and get the bananas. And you know, he's from the cheapest set, so again, you know, it's pretty quick to build his set. But Lego Rambi, pretty big, pretty detailed, pretty accurate. So he is going to be number 4 on this list. And number 3 on this list is going to be Snaggles from the Lego Diddy Kong set. Now, admittedly, I kind of forgot about this character. I know I've played a bunch of Donkey Kong Country Returns. I know I've seen him, but honestly, to be honest, I didn't really know what his name was until I played or built this set. But again, one thing he does have over Rambi is the functionality. You know, you can kind of move his head down like this, and the tail too. It has 2 moving parts. And another unique part of this, no feet. You know, a lot of other characters do have feet. And I'm gonna go back in Rambi. Forgot to mention detailed feet. Look at that. It's not just one piece. You know, you have a few pieces in the feet. So, you know, there's some detail there. But Snaggles, you know, you have the little eyeballs too. That's a little unique part. Not just one piece of the eye. You know, you actually have these little eyeball stuff. That's pretty unique and cool too. And so, you know, Snaggles, good detail, good originality. You know, it doesn't have overall pretty good character and design. And he comes at number 3. And number 2 on this list is the man himself, Donkey. This is absolutely my favorite Donkey Kong character. He's pretty much what got me into the Donkey Kong series itself. Now, Donkey, he's the main man himself. So you knew Nintendo and Lego were gonna put a lot of detail in this guy, and that's absolutely right. His arms, great functionality, can circle around just like that. His feet, you know, can move. It is kind of one piece, but you know, he can actually move his feet. And his hand, he actually has, you know, pretty decently looking hands, and you know, that's pretty cool. And the tie itself is not plastically legally, you know, there's actually this piece here where you put the tie here, it's this little hook, and then you put that on there as the tie is in the head. The other ones, you can't really move their heads, you know, you saw that with Snaggles and Rammy too, you can move their head. So this is the first Kong itself that can actually move their head up and down like this. So Donkey, and in very great detail too. I mean, the back head is a little exposed, you can tell there's a lot of lines here, and there's a lot great detail in here. This one, in my opinion, probably did take the longest to build, but it was also the first character to build. So, and understand it might make sense why it took a while. But you know, you could really tell Nintendo and Lego did try to put great effort into, you know, the character that all of these sets are kind of built around. So, and Mr. Donkey himself. One little thing is that mouth a little bit. It's very square. You know, it's not. I mean, the mouth itself, but these part of the mouth, you know, it makes it look very square and makes it look more blocky than it should be. But Donkey, he's gonna come out at number 2 on this list. And number 1 is Mr. Funky. He is from the Lego Diddy Kong set. Now, one thing about Funky, very similar to Donkey, you know, very similar builds, but the main thing is the functionality. His arms, you can spread them out a little bit more, just like so. You know, Donkeys, you can only really rotate around. His head too, you can move it up and down, but you can move it sideways. And his knees too, you can move those back up and forth like that. But Donkey, you couldn't. And one little grip I have about this figurine is his backside. I don't know why it's very exposed, but maybe it does allow for this extra functionality. Move your arms up and down like this. And it does make sense because the Lego Funky one is $110, and he's the premier figurine of that set, which is the most expensive Lego Donkey Kong set. So I think it makes sense. And another thing too, his mouth does not feel as blocky. I mean, yeah, there's still these parts in the end, but his mouth too is a little more detailed. It's not just so flat. So Lego Funky takes the cake at number 1 of this little extra functionality. And that is all 9 Lego Donkey Kong figurines. Overall, in my opinion, they did a great job at these. Very accurate, very high detailed, and overall, they're just super fun to play and build. So if you guys enjoyed this, please stick around for more, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you guys.